Welcome friends back to another video. Today I want to talk to you about live streaming. Once again, I've kind of been on a live streaming kick. I've been doing a lot of it lately. It's kind of what we do, but I want to talk to you about it using OBSBOT Talent. Talent is a live streaming studio device. I've got it rigged up here in a configuration that I would normally use on location. Sometimes I do it a little bit different. This is specifically set up for this location, constraints and stuff like that. But I want to walk you through it and share with you how I would use those two HDMI inputs, what you can do with the NDI, how I would set up a stream and things like that. So let's jump right into this real quickly. You're seeing the out from OBSBOT Talent using the USB-C to an HDMI adapter going straight into my monitor back there. So that's the number one thing. That's going to allow you to see everything that's on the screen. And sometimes you'll see some camera inception like this, but don't you worry about that too much. We have a second camera right here. Hello, all right. And I'll show you that in a second. You guys know I like camcorders, but you could use a camera, camcorder, or the awesome OBSBOT tail airs. That would be great too. You're also going to see that I have a little scene set up. I'll walk you through how to set up a transparency, like a PNG over top of a video. You can kind of layer these. This is a different type of scene creation than what you might expect if you were using YOLObox. YOLObox, you will create layers and stack the layers manually on top of one another. Which works excellent, by the way. It's very straightforward. Here, when you create a layer with OBSBOT, it's more like using OBSBOT, OBSBOT. So you can create a scene with multiple layers, and then they all trigger when you tap on one scene. So it's just a different way to go about it. I like both of them equally. It just depends. And then I'll probably have my Virginia Beach commercial I did a few years ago playing in the background. We're also going to go over the audio settings, just so that you can see the type of audio settings that I do and give you just an overview. I just want you to see how this thing works and see how small it is. It's relatively heavy because I've got a lot of batteries in here, but this is a type of device that is very simple to fit to your mission. So specific to what you need, we can get on with it. So as we get into that, let's first take a walk around OBSBOT. I'm gonna bring you in, okay? I've got my battery packs that are plugged in, and I've got right angle adapters bringing out my HDMI 1 and HDMI 2. As I turn around to the opposite side of it, you're gonna see the entire camera rig as far as what kind of gear that I'm using to connect wirelessly for both audio and for video. I'm using a Vaxis Atom 500. And I'm on just a little power arm right here. It's a small rig, strong arm right there. I forget exactly what they call it. And then I've got an L bracket connector right here that connects to the bottom of OBSBOT. And then of course at top, I've got my Hollyland Lark Max, which is providing all of my audio. When these things connect, I'm easily able to move the director's monitor off of this piece if I need to. But more importantly, it just works just like you see it right here. And this does not go on top of a camera as you would expect. This is a director's monitor, and I use it just like that. So looking through it right there, you've now got a good walk around feel for what it is, that we're using. Okay, so let's talk about the additional cameras and things that you might use. For me, I've got a camcorder right here, as you can see. This is the way I use it. So if you've got your wireless HDMI transmitter, it'll be right here, and then your camcorder plugs in. I use camcorders over cameras because, well, they're easier, to be quite honest with you. You got an all-day battery, basically 4 to 6 hours. They just work. You plug them in, you turn them on, you record. They've got awesome auto specs, which is very helpful in live stream productions. And when you turn them on and tell them to record, they can be reliable to just sit there and do the job. So when we think about that, that's why I use them. Next thing I want to do is kind of move OBSBOT Talent out to the side so that we can focus on the bigger screen right there. And we'll do that now. So I'll kind of bring you over here. Let's see. Yeah, I think that ought to be good. Yeah, that ought to be pretty good. I think you'll be able to see everything you need to see. So when we look at Talent, we've got a lot of different scenes that we can create down here along the bottom. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so when we look at Talent, we've got a lot of different scenes that we can create down here along the bottom. But before we get into that, I want to talk to you about this plus or this hamburger menu right there. This is going to give you all of your account creation. So you set up OBSBOT, you turn everything on, you create different shows from here, which is pretty neat. You can create different types of programs. You don't have to use this program name. You can create a 30 frames a second, 2997. All of these things work, and you can name the programs so that you can come back to them. You can stream in vertical or landscape or horizontal and portrait. Doesn't really matter. The next thing that we look at right here, we've got the show list. So all of the types of shows that you could create are down here. So you create your different types of shows and then you bring them into your show list as far as which one you're presenting. I created earlier a small show in order to, I'm live streaming, so I haven't ended that yet, which means that I need to go and end that not only here, but on YouTube for me. You can also import different shows, but this is the type of thing you will create to have your show list that you're doing. So if you've got an episodic type of thing, you'll see them all pop up right here. When we get down a little bit further, we've got our album. This is important because it just shows us where we're going to grab the different pieces of media, things that we have done, whether it's been a band on stage, whether it's a live stream performance. This was all shot using OBSBOT Talent and the OBSBOT Tail Air and one AGCX 354 out there. You can kind of see me in the background. I'm carrying that AGCX 350 around. You can monitor these things, you can delete them, you can share them other places to use, you can replay them, bring up screenshots, stuff like that. They're all able to be brought into your show so that you can use them pretty simply. The next thing I want to get into is your settings. So here's the settings for everything from network to Bluetooth to audio, how you want your audio to display, how you want to hear it, the type of input delay that you might need to add to it, whether your default option for audio in is going to be the HDMI or the 1/8 inch jack. All of that stuff takes place there. Of course, display allows you to change the brightness of the display. Also allows you to do something nice down here, which is change the different color types. You can do a natural or a boosted. I don't know if you see that. This is important. This is the closest thing that you're going to get on any of the live stream type devices to color matching. So if you think of YOLObox, if you think of OBSBOT, the Talent, there are no vector scopes or anything, but here we have the ability to change the color saturation, which is really nice. Storage, it's exactly what you think, whether you want to use internal storage or whether or not you want to use external storage such as an SD card or a USB device. You do have 64 gigs of internal storage built into here, which is nice, so you can store things on here that allow you to take care of business. This is where you set all of your encoding. Your encoding is pretty important. You can set H.264, H.265, just depends on what you want to do. You can add a different type of encoding from this panel right here. And this is where you're going to create the type of programs that you then add over here when we go into Create Show. Notice how it pops up with default 60p or in this instance, these different frame rates that we get. That's where those shows populate. So once you create the different type of show that you want to do, you save it. That one profile or template is available for you for whichever else you want to do, which is pretty nice. Streaming, this is important. Where you will log in, I've logged out. I logged out of this to do an update. I need to log back in, but this is where you would go for any of your live streaming that you're doing. So if you're going to do YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, one app login like the APK. Sometimes these things don't work very well when it comes to the platform content delivery network like Facebook changing their APIs or APKs for how third-party devices log in. In the event that that happens, you just come over here and use an SMTP or an SRT server. You can also add additional servers if you'd like for your own. As you can see right here, you can set up and then have that to call back after you've set it up. So you can set up multiple types of logins, which is nice. Okay, recording is just that. You're going to be able to choose different ways to record or for screenshots, things like that. Just depends on what is connected. Switching, whether you want to have a scene transition from fade, cut, dip, and you can change these in the settings while you're streaming. So you can change one. It's real simple to change. LED backlights, that's just for the battery indicators if you want your tally lamps on. Here's what you're going to use your USB-C port for. Of course, replay, and then your on-screen remote. So how you're going to do your on-screen remote if you're connecting to different OBSBOT or NDI devices, you can connect to them and control them using your on-screen remote. Shortcuts, just like if you wanted to add a shortcut for a particular function that pops up on the screen, you can do that, something that you use often. And then your system update, all your date, time, device status, stuff like that. Okay, now that all of that is out of the way, I want to show you how you create a scene. But first, let's actually walk around here and talk about how we navigate the scenes. As you've seen, our hamburger menu gets us all of our settings. When we come over here to our sliders, our levels, this is going to bring up our levels. We have the ability to turn audio follow video, always on or always off. I prefer the way I record to have always off, but you can choose however you wish. And then you can turn on the different levels between each one. And on your levels, as you can see, you get really nice meters. This might be a little bit bright for you. I hope you can see that you're getting some nice meters right there. So you've got background music, the different video clips. For whatever you have as a scene right here at the bottom, you will then pop up and have audio to match that selection, which is nice. So I've got the mic turned on so that the microphone is sending audio into YOLO or into OBSBOT Talent, and Talent will use that specifically for the audio for the program. When we move over, we've got GFX. If you wanted to do any graphic effects or anything like that we're going to add here, such as titles, lower thirds, animations, digital clock, alarm clock, bullets, social media, logos, scoreboards, timers, stopwatch, web page, and even a custom drawn screen with your fingers or stuff like that, you would add all of that stuff right here. So if we wanted to add a lower third, there are some that are already set up, or we could have animated lower thirds. This is awesome because these are great looking titles or lower thirds, and it works the same for the title animations that will look great right here, right now, that you can just jump into and add. So there's a lot of stuff into it. You've got different bullet lists, as you can see, as well as stopwatch, countdown timers, and things like that. So when you think of all of this, think about just show production. It's all right there. If you wanted to add a web page, you could add a web page. I'm going to do mine .r. Now you can see we've got an additional unit right here. We can actually take that and put it right there. Okay. And now we've got my home page pulling over. Of course, I could have centered it a little bit better, but we can turn those graphic overlays off. So if we wanted to go ahead and play something, we can add an overlay on top of that. It's playing still in the background. We're talking about it, and then we pull it back. So this would be important if you had some kind of web graphics or if you wanted to show some kind of online content, which is pretty cool. Your little pen tool right here allows you to do exactly that, create drawings on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and erase that, close it out. I don't need it. Our 3-dot button that you see right here is going to allow us to do a freeze frame. Notice how it froze frame right there, and it tells us screen is frozen, but that doesn't play out to your people. And then you tap it again to unfreeze. If you wanted to come over here and do some kind of switching settings, such as fade to black, you could do that right now. So if you wanted to have a particular different kind of switch for that scene, you'd go ahead and grab that, which would be kind of neat. All of these things allow you to do just different types of, create more immersive types of video content right here and on the device. And it's actually presented, there's a lot of information that's presented in an extremely smart type of way. It's very smart, very simple in the way that it does it. It's very effective to grab. Let's go ahead and talk about how you would set up a scene like this. Notice here we've got a celebration of life, which is a title card PNG, but it's placed over top of a background movie. So we'll do that by coming over here and pressing the plus button. I want to start with the type of content I want to create, which is going to be a video. In this instance, I'm going to take a video like, I guess it doesn't necessarily matter. I will take this one, which is a video I did of chasing you, just playing guitar. Once it loads that video, we're going to have a bunch of different options. This is a relatively high bit, it's a big file, high resolution file. So Talent is taking just a moment to load it. Let's give it a second. Okay, now that it's loaded, we'll be able to see that it's actually got a cover. First thing I want it to do is I want to make sure that this is going to play when I start it. That is going to be, or when I choose this is what I'm talking about. That's going to take place using the action button. So I come over here, and instead of manual start, which would switch from one video to this or one input to this and not play it unless I press the play button, I'm going to select auto start. It's going to give me some additional options here. And on end, I just want it to repeat the video. Transition, I want it to say the same kind of transition that we have selected for the scene, and switch action. Every time we switch from one to another, I just want it to start again, but you could pause the video so that when you switched off the video to go to a different scene and came back to it, it would start and stop. If you were doing some kind of episodic content where you needed that video to start at the same spot, or an explainer video, then yeah, you would want to press pause video. Okay, once that's done, we save that. The next thing we come over here to do is I want to walk you through these down at the bottom. Let me get this played forward just a moment. Now we've stopped. We've got position XY, which allows us to move this. This is also what we're able to do right here. And you'll have a set of crosshairs that pop up when you're directly in the center, which is nice. The next thing is size. Of course, we could scale it. That's basically position and size and crop are basically these right here, but just with a more precise handle. You know, we can crop to different sizes, as you see right here, 1:1 original, stuff like that. But the position and the size are basically just this free-floating, what you see is what you get editor right here. If you wanted to do it sideways, you see I'm having a difficult time getting it right in the center. And there we go. But you could also do it using position and size. Frame. If we wanted to give a frame to this, we could add different frame weights. We could add a different color. All of those types of things would allow us to give this video some kind of an incidental or different look if we wanted to give it some kind of call out. I'm not really interested in any of that, so we'll take it all down to 0, and we're done. The video actually has a frame at this particular frame of video. Once that chasing you cover is gone, it'll disappear in just a moment, and then the frame's gone. Okay, so with that, we've also got label. If we wanted to, label is just adding something to this. You can use this as text and font, but this is going to be a little bit different than the type of free-floating label. This is one that might sit down at the bottom. So you could use a label, which would be quick and dirty, real fast, just to add something to the video or the input that you're showing, or you could actually create a graphic to go over top of it using one of the titles or the lower thirds that we talked about a moment ago. When it comes here, we have different ways to dock the label. We have different themes to choose for the label. We have a different size of the label. Notice the label is not acting as a lower thirds graphic directly. It's actually just signifying a particular piece of a particular input or video, which means if you were doing something like, I don't know, documentary work where you were taking interviews and depositions, you could use this, or they may require it to be internal to the camera to be able to brand the particular video being recorded. But if you were, you could use this as well. It would be the same kind of thing. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. Okay, reset, and then close that label down. We'll go over here to chroma key. As you can see, we've got a chroma key. If you don't know about chroma keying, there's a lot that goes on with chroma keying, but we can change everything from the key color, which is either blue or green or auto, or you can select a particular color. You can chroma key for a particular plate. Well, excuse me. You can chroma key for a particular background color, and then you can, once you've got your color designed, you can go in and change its smoothness and its sensitivity, just like regular. Reset takes you back to normal. From there, play range, you could choose just a spot to play in and out, which is simple as just moving your sliders, and then where to action. Action was where we said we would start and everything. The next part we have is transparency. So if we wanted to make this transparent, which means it would be over top of some other kind of video if we needed, or if we wanted to give a transition of a particular in and out animation, we could do that as well. And then down here for browse, we can choose another piece of content. But let's go ahead and take this. Now that we've got this is our base layer, we go ahead and add another layer. In this instance, we're going to add a picture. From here, I'm just going to take, I already saw one, but I think I'll just take this one and we'll add that over top. This is a PNG with transparency. So I'm going to add that right there. And now we have save. So now when we switch to them, you can see that it pops up between the two with the transparency. Instead of having two separate actions, you have both of those right there. Okay, now that we've got our show set, there are a couple other things we can do. We can come over here and we can add audio and different background graphics. Actually, that's done in the audio panel, excuse me. We can come over here to audio and we can choose background music to add background music for that, for whatever's individually playing. But at this point in time, everything's ready to go to stream. So we can either take a screenshot and begin recording or start streaming live. When we stream live, we would go ahead and log in, set up the event just like we would, name it, and then press go live. All of that is done. All of that. If that wasn't enough, all of that is done as a quick down and dirty for how you would use this just to have a really great stream right out here. Like nothing to it. So when you think about the type of work you're going to do and the type of price that you might charge, realistically, talent, which is around $1,000, somewhere around there, depending on what you buy it for, your camera or a webcam or a cell phone, depending on what you're doing, and some simple software that allows you to create graphics if you want to create your own graphics like I've done here, or if you want to just do it all over like you see right there, you can use the title generation. And you've really got a live stream setup that makes things simple. It's multiple cameras. And we didn't even talk about NDI, like if we were going to use NDI for or the OBSBOT talent or the OBSBOT tail air. They just connect like that. Any other NDI camera pops right up here, and then you can use it that way as well. So really, really quite versatile, very small, and can be fit to build any mission that you need. So I like it for all of those reasons. Guys, this has been a lot. I hope it's quick, down, and dirty for you. I really enjoy using Talent. It's so small. It's fun to use. It's tiny, and you can build it however you want. Oh yeah, some of you might ask, let me do that right now. You might see that I've got a battery right here that's kind of low. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna hot swap the battery while we're here. Boom. So notice oh, I don't have another one to put in, but check that out. Notice the battery came out and we're still streaming, so you can switch batteries on the go. What else can I say? That's awesome. Guys, I wanna thank you so much for watching and remind you to catch me on the flip side. Bye for now.